Hi, everyone. You hear me well? Hi, every strangers. So we're freaks. Yves, Cyril, and myself, Guillaume. We met at school, like many other architects. When you start you want to work together, you start some business with your friends. We actually started to work together in 2007, so it's been 10 years now. But we really launched the office in 2010 when we got a prize from the Ministry of Culture, AGAP, AGAP, which is a prize given to young practices you have to apply for. Sorry. And we decided at the time when we got the prize to launch the office properly. That very first day, we had to have a portrait. There were a professional photographer, and we had to take a picture of ourselves. And it was not aimed. It's not something we really thought about. But once we saw all the architects being portrayed like the same way, sitting on a chair, like a group of architects, we decided maybe there's something to do with this very first portrait of ourselves, of our office. So we went back on the streets and we bought those glasses from the market. It was just next to the Eiffel Tower, so we would find the fake glasses with even no glass. And we just got portrayed as we were what people have in mind when you think about architects. People dressed in black. We had this point a bit before. Wearing glasses, being very strict, non-funny at all. So that was our first step into our professional experience. Sorry, when I'm coughing, it's tough. You might know Miss van der Rohe, less is more. It was something like our first also statement towards this masters of architecture. Less is more is more, less is not enough. Meaning, it's not just about being always minimal. It's not just about always finding the nice idea at the nice time. Architecture can also be something quite playful. And we will go back to this picture a little after. It's connected to one of our projects. To go briefly and to make it clear, we won't show one video tonight. It's 6 small videos, each time linked to a project. But just to start with, so you understand our economy and how we work, we are nowadays embedded on 2 big cultural facilities in France, for which we are in association with other architects, international offices. So Mecca is a project in south of France, in Bordeaux, and we are in association with BIG, Bjarke Ingels Group, the Danish architect that maybe some of you know. It's a big office. And as you see, it's a big project also. So it's a contemporary art center, and it's embedding also some other regional activities, cultural regional facilities. So this is about to be built from this summer on. The building process is starting next month. Another picture, yes, so you have the picture, like classical architectural renders of picture when you make a competition and you win the competition. So now the point is to work hard to make this picture built exactly the same way as it is. And the second big project we're having is located in Meisenthal. It's a small city northeast of France, not too far from Strasbourg, for those who know. And it's a blowing glass factory, which is located in a small village. So that's the site. You have a big warehouse, a blowing glass museum, and a lot of workshop, because they're inviting designers and artists to produce glass blowing pieces. So we won the competition in association with an American Brooklyn-based office. Their name is Soil. Because we're redesigning the whole interior public space to make all the connection between all those buildings that are from different period of time and different aspects also. And we're connecting all of them through the same yard. So that's what we do and what makes also the office turning. But our very first point when we started to work as an office was to think about what it is, this job of being an architect. Because when you study architecture, you know how to produce an architecture project, but yet what it is to be an architect. So this is just one sample picture, but usually people have in mind this way that architects are like big developer, they draw on big plan, they draw by hand. Sometimes people have this thing in mind also that architects are quite provocative or insultant people. This is Frank Gehry. When he was asked some question towards a project he recently finished. So this is interesting. We are all embedded in this kind of mess of what is an architect considered by people. So
star architect.
And star architects, yes. So one project that we were working on, which is really a film project, is a found footage project called The Architect. It's actually a big scanning of all movies in which we could find one of the character being an architect. Usually they're not the main character, usually they're like second, third character, but it's always portrayed the same way. You always have the same relation towards model, the model always being something quite classical and quite kitschy. They're all drawing by hand. There's no computer in the movies. Even in the last movie, last year, the architects are drawing by hand on big tables. Like, I'm not sure, no one anymore does really. They always have troubles in their lives, in their couple. There's always a tricky something because they're so busy that they can really not have a proper relation. So there's always some issue with the girl in the office or the next door girl, whatever. So we can play now the video. It's a trailer we did with art director, Fat Cat. And actually the project is still on because we really would like to get all the credits from all the movies to make it proper. It takes time, it takes money, so it's still an ongoing project. Shall I just press next?
D'abord au plafond, là.
Ça Non, mais j'anticipe. Si vous voulez faire un deuxième étage, paf, vous pouvez parce qu'il y a déjà une porte pour y accéder. Et ce carrelage là, il est pas magnifique? Fais d'artifice, je viens voir ici.
Sorry, it's French.
Yeah, the ending is French, sorry. So this is really something we work together with, an as I said, an art director. So it's not really our style in terms of what we would do as ourselves for a movie. But it's also interesting to have those collaboration because sometimes the project goes into places you would not think beforehand. To talk about our very, very first video, The Burglars, as I said to some other people previously, since we started to work together in 2007, it was actually about the time of YouTube coming up, and the very first time you could really see a lot of videos online. And we really had this idea of working with video when we really started our projects. And I think it came at the same time as this very first project. So it's not something we're really proud in terms of design. It's not a project we have followed. The building process went on its own. We just did some, let's say, design sketches. So it's an elevation on an existing building it's a housing. It's a house in the suburb of Paris, northern suburb of Paris. And actually, it's a little tricky, let's say, suburb. So you see in the back, there's a big housing, social housing building. And the client was quite afraid of, as you could see, it's his place down there. There were like protection on all doors, all windows, everywhere. And he wanted that for this extension, we also had these grids everywhere. We sustained to not to have it, and finally there's no grid up there. But it gave us the idea of how we could document this very first project, what kind of picture you can make out of project to start to promote it and to publish it. So we actually stage something like a performance. The three of us are dressed up as burglars and we break into the house. Who better than the architects can break into the house they have designed themselves? So the idea was to kind of stage this robbery, let's say. So it's a good excuse to see this interior, which is not even our design, but it's how people were living in there. We also like the idea that you just catch the eye with something a little different, and then on the side you have architecture, what we feel architecture is somehow, which, I mean, architecture is a container. So this is just a bunch of pictures, and those pictures just were mounted into a short film that I'm going to play right now.
The final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
So as you see, it's a very low-tech video for very low-tech projects back in 2009. But it was interesting also because the client knew that we were just taking picture, but he was in the office in one enclosed room, so he didn't really see what we were doing in the house while he was working. So I think he has a good surprise at the end.
And
Are you going on?
Yeah, but just to say, at the same every time we ask us what we can take just before the projects leave. So each time we try to make photo or videos just to keep something, just before to give the keys to the clients.
When you work for private clients, it's true that it's not like a public place. When it's a private flat, once you give the key, then there's no way you go back to take picture. So it's also this very last days when you can still go on site and take some picture.
Because after you can't do that.
Next project is Cité de l'Architecture, is like Museum of Architecture in Paris. And we were asked to redesign the whole entrance of this building. And for this project, we worked with a graphic designer, sharing the space with us, and it was the first collaboration we had with them. So it's called Plateforme de la Création Architecturale, is creation, architectural creation platform, you guess. And this is the entrance, and we were required to, in this space, to find 3 locations for 3 different purposes. The space is really tricky. There's many small rooms, and we decide to empty the center to make like a, let's say, a courtyard. Sorry, and to make it like from this point, every space we would design would be visible from this center. So if you, well, yeah, we'll go through in each room afterwards. But to make clear these three spaces, we choose to paint them in three colors, but we, on the advice of the graphic designer, they wanted to make it super rough and to, I don't know in English, like the fire
spray, you know, fire extinguisher.
Yeah, extinguisher. Fill up with paints, and so we would paint each room, each space in one color. So it was one shot. At first, the client, an institution, didn't really like the idea of rough paint all over the entrance. They were not really funky. But I don't know why finally they accepted, and
because of the budget, I think.
Because
it was very low budget project,
and because we were doing it by ourselves. So you can see like different spaces, like the video area. So the graphic designer choose like layers of A0, really simple way of presenting. Even the screen is made of this size of paper. You can see like the exhibition. It's like every 3 months the exhibition is changing. It's two offices showing their work, and the confrontation of the two offices like makes the exhibition and the interest of the exhibitions. So that's also for openings, and each room has its own form, like own volume. So, for example, this is housing laboratory, talking about researches on housing. So that the space we paint it, and that's the second area. We call it the pipe, like in skiing or skating. It's a simple volume, always like, I didn't say that, but white with the black frame all the time to make it like as a logo. And these spaces, this piece of furniture is just the location of where each office can present their work. So it's a confrontation of their work on this furniture. So here you can see like two work of an office, RAF from Netherlands,
So
and
the black one. Yeah.
the black one, and TVK is a Paris-based office. So each office can use this space as they want, and just the confrontation like makes the interest.
It's like a battle, but just with ideas, and each team doesn't know what the other are going to do. So there is a surprise to discover just the last day.
And what's the word again?
Stands.
The stands. I don't remember in English.
Pictures.
Yeah, thank you. So for conference like today. So each office can present their work in front of a small audience.
Those are the most fancy architecture parties in town.
And the other side is the desk for the space. That's a video of the making of.
Naturally, are you ready?
So we didn't mention, but
Yeah,
it's
that's
also
it.
a director we worked with, and he's also sharing the space we're having in Paris.
It was an office project, actually.
Yes.
Graphic designer.
Yeah,
filmmaker.
everyone in the
whole
office
office
was
was working on
involved.
that. Another project
free.
is we call it Bespoke. It's a building in Paris, designed by Oskar Niemeyer. It's the communist headquarters of headquarter party, Communist Party, sorry. And we were required to do something for the French Architect Committee. They wanted us to do a posters of their own event, because they were a big event attending this place, and we proposed many things. They refused most of them, but they accept at least the facade installation. So we said, as the architect will have a big symposium on this building, let's make in real the measurement of the building. So the building is really nice. It's like a nice curve like this, but it's a bit forgotten in this part of Paris, and the intervention was like somehow to reveal a bit the building. So we did it ourselves, actually, and that was also part of the plan. So it's
Very low budget project.
very low budget, and every occasion to leave the office is good. So we decide to go in that kind of lift for cleaning the windows, and we stick it directly. So it was really cold, maybe not as cold. For us, it was cold in December, and we didn't have that much time to do it. So like just few hours. So it was the first time we could stick something on this building. It is protected by as an historical building, and the facade also is protected. It's been designed by Jean Prouvé, a French engineer, well, known mainly in France, I guess. Here is the making of again.
A long one.
Ma famille, si je tombe. Première flèche de posée.
De la cotation horizontale. Chaque fois il se cale sur la partie basse de la fenêtre pour la bonne horizontale.
Et tu es arrivé à finir.
De large et 20 mètres et quelques de haut. On est venu mesurer au laser il y a une semaine. Et ça aurait dû être toi, ça aurait dû mourir.
Un petit mot avant la fin.
Plein de choses à vivre. Non, je ferai ce projet jusqu'au bout.
T'as quelque chose à dire au reste du monde?
Je suis jusqu'au boutiste. J'ai pas fini ma mission, je dois mettre les mesures.
Curieux quand même.
Ouais, mais c'est pas grave, c'est pas ça.
Alors heureux?
Ouais, soulagé, c'est terminé, 16h30, avant la nuit. Ça s'est bien passé. Le lendemain Madou, sans qui ça n'aurait pas été possible. Voilà, les chiffres horizontaux, c'était un peu compliqué. Et autrement là, c'est la limite. Non, voilà, nickel, on ne s'est pas trompé dans les chiffres. Non. Original.
Alors, un petit mot pour la fin quand même.
À quoi ça sert?
So I forgot to say, like in this kind of installation, what also? Oh, sorry.
Il paraît qu'ils vont coller des stickers, mais je n'ai pas trop compris. Je crois. Ils vont travailler sur l'espace et les volumes, mais l'espace et les volumes, c'est moi. Mais faisons leur confiance.
He was not dead at the time we did the
Yeah.
installation.
He was still alive.
In the previous installation you saw, we were interested also in the graphical codes of architects, and the measurements is part of like not the cliche, but like stereotype of and plans. So it was also playing with that and making 1-to-1 scale.
I can go on with that one.
Yep.
Napoleon, you might know, is a famous French character. That one guy. He supposedly lived in a place which is Rue de Rivoli, facing the Jardin des Tuileries, in the very, very center of Paris, in a row of building, in which we had the opportunity to do some interior design. So it's quite luxurious flats and luxurious environment. But this Napoleon thing was a nice story we all had in mind during the building process, also with the builders on site. So it was always this fantasy of maybe finding behind an old wall some treasure, something from Napoleon, some hat, some whatever. So it was just about a running joke during the process. That's how the flat was when we arrived. Was not in such a good state, and a lot of addition of different layers of history. Also, not everything was originary from the building time. So we took off a lot of stuff from the walls, from the ceiling. We discovered new moldings on the ceiling that were covered by suspended ceiling from the 70s or 80s. So it was something about archaeology also into this architecture project. And our aim was to, so this is the
Original.
The plan of the flat. As you see, it's a big flat. So we're not at all in a social housing project or in a refugee project or whatever. It's 70 square meter flat. You have a big staircase with two entrances. One entrance is for the staff. So as you see on top, the staff would have the kitchen on the back side plus one bedroom with a separate door, so you don't see the staff coming in. And then basically it's only about reception rooms, one bedroom and a big living room, giving a nice view to the garden and the streets. So the connection between those spaces were quite tricky because you always have to go through a room to reach another room, then to reach another room. So it's a lot of dead end. And it's not very suitable for making it a contemporary housing project. And we were required to do something for like a prototype family because the owner was not the one about to live in, for like a couple with 2 children plus space to work and like standard, high standard but standard housing. So we decided to close all doors, all connection between rooms, and recreate by the project, each time we were needing it, a new connection to kind of find new porosity within this flat. So the final project is on top you have the children area. We have two two-story, but the mezzanine rooms with the shared bathroom. And in the main rooms, you would have still a dining hall, but we managed to have, let's say, visitors' bedroom. You have the master bedroom connected to a nice, glass house, or we'll see some picture afterwards. And we moved the kitchen to the room onto the streets, connected to this big living room. This is what also we did as a statement, the cut up in the walls, in the moldings, to find this new porosity and this new connection. So this is how we end up with the project. This is the view from the living room towards the kitchen. And you might maybe recognize Cyril standing in the back, dressed up as Napoleon. We also did a performance when we were documenting the work. The three of us were dressed up as Napoleons. So you have three wild Napoleons walking around the flat. Plus you have the dog from the photographer. We didn't mention the photographer, David Fossel, is a friend of us we're working with for a couple of time now. And the more we work, It's really nice to have this good relation with the photographer because you really can go deep in a project. So it's his dog. Just to explain briefly, it looks very simple to cut up those moldings, but actually we had to take off the whole thing to put in a new structure to cover it back with the existing moldings because those buildings are quite old. And even if it's not a proper wall, everything has become, structural after the years. This is an axon from the project. So the very first slice of the living room is over the street, exactly where we have this new structure. So it was a little tricky to organize. This is a view from the kitchen side towards the big living room. So we really wanted to have, anytime we touch something, a complete different style, like contemporary style. We always work very simple. It's always either black or white, or it's not about material much, rather than about how the flat is working. You can open the kitchen, and if I go back, you can close the kitchen. Those are still the Napoleons. That's something you can imagine from there, the view. What you see in the backside is the Musée d'Orsay, being completely underwater. Those days, not underwater, but it has been closed today. I don't know if you know, but there's big floods in Paris at the moment, and the Louvre and the Musée d'Orsay are shut down because the ground floor are underwater. This is what was a pool, a billiard room, which is connected to this new guest room. And we kept, as you see, the two handmade paintings that were very, very nice on the walls, and painting the whole rest white. This is the new, the guest room on the side. And the previous staff corridor leading to the two child bedroom. Other picture. This is the master bedroom, which is also a little non-conventional bedroom. You can go from the sink through the shower to the bath, but you can also go like from outside. And this on the right is one of the child room, and on the left is this kind of antique Venice style glass house they had on the back. So it was quite fun because we're not used much to this kind of luxurious environment. Yet it was also a very low budget, because it's not because people have money that they put much money in the project. Sometimes you have to make it clever and cheap also. But it was very interesting for us to work on this project. The second round, because we have 3 rounds, was when we actually got to know who was the occupant of this flat, because we were just designing a flat for someone that we didn't know. It actually was not a family of 4 with kids, and it was this designer, a Lebanese designer, Magdalena, I don't know her name. Diab, right. For you to know, it's about 7,000 euro a month to be living in this place. So it's people that are doing business in Paris, but it was nice to see and visit her and how she was living in a space we did design. And hopefully it was much more busy and crowded than we were expecting. And we were actually, we kept the picture of the flat we kept in mind. But actually she turned this flat into a showroom of her own work. So it was more about showing to clients rather than really living in there. All those decoration stuff. I can go a little quicker. A lot of pictures. Kitchen. It's also interesting to have this dialogue between how we architects try to portray our work, which is always empty, there's nothing, maybe there's a flower in the corner and an art book, and this is it. And once the space are occupied by the very occupants, it gets really busy, but it's kind of normal. It's just a daily life. And the round 3 was actually when we got asked by the French television program, Interior Design show, to record some reports in the flat. So Cyril was the one presenting the work, and it got really blurred because he had to present all these decoration things that we did not masterize at all. So it was a little tricky for him to talk about the curtain and all these kind of things we didn't choose at all. But it was interesting also to see how television is really scripting the thing. Like she's not working at all; she's just pretending she's working, and the camera is coming to her office to see her working in her nice flat in Paris. And so it was interesting to see how your own design can be completely molded in a different way by some other media. And and I'm finished with this.
Yeah, the last one. So the last one, it's a movie called Modular. It's about a guy, Le Corbusier, you might know. During the Second War, he designed a scale with the perfect body, and he put this idea in this building in Marseille, south of France. And so we had the opportunity to have a flat, so we decided to make a movie in that flat and to deal with this perfect body. So in psychology, you said you have to kill the father. Maybe in architecture, you can say you have to kill Le Corbusier. So maybe we try with this movie. So we had this double flat. And so just remember, but Le Corbusier works with different scales, so the seat, the chair, everything, until the ceiling. And we focus just maybe on one or two sides, maybe just the eye of the perfect body. That's it. And when you touch the ceiling. And so with this perfect body, the modular, you might know, we decide to work with two strange, real people, a small one and a big one. So here are the characters. You have the real modular behind. And we decide to put some rules to make the movie. So we decide to film with the eyes of each character and not the perfect eyes of the modular. So in the movie, when you will see, when you see the characters, it's with the perfect eyes of modular. So the big guy is above the small guy, you just see the head. And when you have the empty space, you can see the flat with their point of view. So it's not an aesthetic movie, it's a strange movie with real point of view. So you have extracts of the movie. So for example, it's the same point of view in the mirror. So you can say it's wrong frame, but it's the real life. So you have the outdoor too. Same picture, but different point of view. It's a big guy. And we decide to work only with color inside, just to focus about the space and the characters, because otherwise we had too many informations. So you will see, but we put just color outside of the flat. And we try to work with the sound too, because there are strange, real sounds, domestic sounds, like the floor, like the stairs, like the dog of the neighbor. And on these sounds, we create a sound above this. So you are going to see first the movie and after a making of about the movie, to clarify. So the movie, just now. And just to clarify, we are going to show you the making of about this. It's in French, sorry.
Mais tout ça, pratiquement, l'avez-vous déjà utilisé et quel en est l'avantage?
Stein va vous répondre. Lorsque je lui ai expliqué le modulor en 46 à Princeton, il m'a écrit le soir, rendra le mal difficile le bien facile. C'est avec ce modulor, qui est une mesure harmonique à échelle humaine, que j'ai construit l'unité de Marseille avec 15 mesures seulement, permettant à un bâtiment immense de n'avoir jamais de disproportion.
Ça c'est naturel, l'autre c'est bizarre.
Il veut planter des villes comme le vieillard de La Fontaine plantait des arbres. On l'a traité de rêveur et de fou, pourtant son rêve est devenu pierre. La meilleure preuve, pour ces enfants de Marseille qui l'entourent, un Corbusier est devenu un nom commun qui désigne une maison comme le Larousse désigne un dictionnaire. Et à leur avis, leur Corbusier est plus beau et surtout plus joyeux que les autres.
Haïta.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much for the nice presentation.
We are right on time. Perfect timing.
Yeah, exactly.
3 minutes.
Start to think of questions. I will start with the first one. You said you are also designing a lot of cultural spaces or museums and galleries, and it has happened that one of your pieces or artworks has been exhibited in your own space or in your design space. Do you think it influences somehow the design process, how you design spaces, if you are also the user afterwards? And I mean not a space like a living space, but really like a very specific space like museum or a gallery.
Well, in that very case, it was a small art gallery we did design in Paris. And 1 or 2 years after, we got invited for a group exhibition, and so we got to present some of our stuff. It was a poster in this space. The space was working quite well for an exhibition space, so we were quite happy with the exhibition. But it's true that it's very interesting because we have this background in art, and we are really big art consumers, and so we go a lot to exhibitions, and it's true that working on a design of an exhibition space, what we're doing on those two big main cultural facilities, is very interesting also because as an architect, at some point you have to make it not like a white cube, you have to make it not like it used to be a factory, but it's not. You have to make it quite typical, so some in situ artists can still make something out of the space. So it's a very, very struggling issue to design from scratch an exhibition space. So we're still in the process of doing it, but it's very exciting. I don't know, did I say that right?
Questions?
Thank you. I saw the movie and I couldn't stop thinking of the production of Becca and Lemoine. So I was wishing to ask you what is your relationship to them? So are you inspired by them, and how far are you, and what is your relationship to them once again?
Well, you want to answer? Or we know their work for sure, and one of the one we really like is about this cleaning lady in Rem Koolhaas' house. Yeah. When this cleaning lady is becoming the main character of the house, it's a very interesting point for us as a film. The main difference is that they are producing video work on other architectural projects, and we mainly work on our own architectural projects, which is a little difference also. And I think they're much more engaged in the professional business, also in filmmaking. They're really engaging and a complete staff for working on the process. And we try to keep it quite low tech so far. We like it to make it quite quick. When we have an idea with the project and the video, we try to make it happen quick. So we're not really in the same way of producing those images, but of course we're really we got inspired by some of their works.
Someone else?
Hello, guys.
Hi.
Thank you very much for your wonderful presentations of these various, not very homogeneous movies or films. One thing that was very, how could you say, a sort of thing that was going through all the movies was a sort of urge to show the act of making and a sort of slowness, and also aspects of being a different architect. And I think that was very clearly with the films that you showed, or the film that you showed in the beginning. So for me, I'm just the whole time searching, what is now your aim? What is your urge? What is your goal as being an architect? Is that a process that you're still going through, or do you have a kind of, because I see some critical aspects in your work, some also very provocative aspects in your work, but still I'm not very, very sure what it's about. Is it about craftsmanship? So this thing of how do we make things? or is it the idea of that we have to do something else than than architecture? Because you have done little architecture as I see it like that. So it's an interesting perspective of being a contemporary architect. But I would like to hear of my conclusions on this are a little bit right, or do you have completely different thoughts on what your purpose is as an architect? I hope that my question is clear.
Oh yeah, but I guess it's a mix of all you said, but it's always still based on the experience we have with the people, either the client or the building people in the project. So it's never coming from nowhere. It's always linked with the story in which we're engaged when we work on the design of someone. So by the end, we're just classical architects in the way that when we're asked to design flat, then we design flat and we try to answer the question. But then when there's a little something that we can play with and we can make something extra out of it, we try to make it. So we try to push it as far as we can. But as I said, like, we try to sustain it as a very side of our work. And also, and that's why we started with these two big renderings. It's also because we're engaged in some, let's say, large-scale building process, long-term building process. Also, it's been 5 years we're working on some of those projects, and it's still not being built, and it's, you know, political issues, and it's very long-term process. But it's because we are having this daily routine in the office that we also permit ourselves to have this more light point of view towards the profession of architects too. But still, we feel there's still so much to say and to, I mean, the first project we showed, the architect project, is something we have in mind for a couple of times. It's still not really done. We have all the excerpts from all the movie, but we really want to produce this project because it's still so much in the movies about how architects are perceived, and we also are interested a lot in mainstream medias. Like how you all know shows about refurbishing a house within a week on television, you know, and there's no time for design. Like they step into the house and the next day they start to demolish and to rebuild the whole thing. There's no, in the script, there's no space left for the time to design, maybe the time to apply for some building papers because you have to tear down one of some buildings. So we're really interested in how mainstream medias, show architects and architecture work. And yes.
Yes.
Thank you for your presentation. It was great to enjoy. Therefore, my question is, what is more fun is to make the architecture or movie about the architecture. Second question is how afterwards, when you are mixing together this movie, how your own works looks like afterwards. And third one is, here was wrote it that you are as a young architect. How young you are?
This is really subjective of both.
I'm 12,
we used to be
13.
I'm 7.
You're young architects until you're 55 years old or something, no? It's really like, I'm sorry for those who are 56 years old, but now saying that it's also interesting, this profession that is not so much youth-orientated, meaning that you can really have a long career. It's actually what we are trying to have also. So we still perceive ourselves as young architects because we have small-scale projects. But we'll see. When we have bigger projects, then we'll be older architects. Then I don't know about your previous questions.
Sorry, could you say it again?
What is more fun? What is more fun, architecture or film?
It's not.
It's different.
The meaning is not fun. It's going outside the office and doing something else than drawing plans is fun. It's refreshing. Maybe fun is not the right word, but refreshing also for us. It's always a good occasion to think about something else, to to look a bit further and to escape for a short time what we're required to do, the client demands and so on. But fun also is part of some of our works, not all of them, but some of our works. I think fun is a bit. Sometimes architecture is taken as a super serious field, and
it's more ironic than fun.
Yeah, and it's not a problem sometimes to have fun, to make fun. This is mainly private jokes among architects. This is not fun for everybody, but this is interesting also to put a bit something playful in, also in architecture or in the photograph or in the video. And for us, this is not something wrong or something we should avoid because architecture is something serious and we should do it in a, serious way. So just a bit of fun in some project is not a problem for us.
And for us, there are each times two projects, the project you build and the project that you want to show and how we are going to show it. So each time we think two times for one fees.
And what was the second question?
And how your work is looking afterwards when you are putting together a movie? Is that looks the same like you planned in the beginning?
What do you mean, like the image we give of to the others of our project?
Yeah, if you design the project and you build it, that's one result, and then you put it together a movie. Is that after looking the movie, the feeling is the same after finishing the project?
No, I think what I would answer is that since we're not professionals in making videos, it's always a bit of a surprise. Actually, we masterize less the result of a movie, if it's the point of your question, then we would masterize an architectural project somehow. And I think this blurry ending is also what we like. And working with other people like directors is also, as I said, reaching other horizon with the film project, some kind of aesthetic we would not have in mind at first. Like for this modular project, we just wanted to work with this, we didn't say, but two professional actors, like the shorter one and the tallest one. We didn't know what would be the aesthetic of the project, and then we worked with this director, and it just went on, and by the end we have some results, and I don't know. We're still in the process of doing, and then we'll see if we have a style, if there's something that we're not comfortable with, or some other that we really like. I don't know.
We make pictures of our projects also. Like everybody is like minimal style and with nothing inside, and but we also like the idea of giving another image of the project, not super minimal, not fancy, and we've got many ideas of how we could show our project, also in the rough way and or in the indirect way, like not showing our space but showing something else in our space. And that's an idea that we're interested in. But back in the first question, we don't have a statement, and we're not trying to say one thing with many videos. It's just a project. You've got a project, you say, what can we say, what can we do from this one? Maybe after some years we will discover that there were one single meaning, but so far it's something really direct and spontaneous. And it's not something like we make a big thinking before doing the videos or the photographs. I don't know if I was clear. It's getting hot.
There's
yeah, it's very hot.
One more question.
Cynthia, you had the questions.
Don't be scared.
Sorry, you're not allowed.
Not allowed to talk. Censorship.
We're out of time. Sorry.
So the first piece, I was thinking about the architects. I was thinking about Christian Markley's work, The Clock, which I'm assuming you've seen.
Yes.
Yes. And I was wondering whether you're thinking about making that piece as an installation or whether it's going to be a single channel, like you presented it as a 4-screen, and whether you're thinking about it as an installation in a gallery space or if you're thinking about it as a single channel. That's one question. And of course, you're critiquing the representations of white male architects, which is very clear in the mass media. And I'm wondering how, if you do it as an installation, which is more algorithmically run, or even if it's edited, how you want, if people walk in and out of the installation, how you want people to be reading this installation. And then the second question is about the piece in Marseille, and if you were thinking about Diane Arbus' photography when you were casting the 2 characters. That's it.
Yeah, I think those are like, wow, talking to myself. Those are, the background references we had for sure. And the good example with Christian Markley, that maybe you know this project, you don't. It's a 24 hours movie, and whenever you get in the room, you always see it's all found footage movie about the whole history of cinema. You always have close look to either a watch or an alarm clock or a clock or something, and it's always at the exact time you see the movie. So it's a big amount of work, and that's it. I don't want.
It's called 24 o'clock.
Yeah, 24. Yeah. And that's like a €2 million project because they really wanted to find the foundings and to pay the rights for the whole thing. And that's a commercial project. And it's actually what we would like to do with this, the Architect project, because we have all the footage, but the rights are just amazingly high. So we try to, if there's some sponsors in the room, we can talk afterwards.
So we are going to do, but
we're going to do it.
So maybe we're going to do it like
and,
on YouTube. But it's interesting your question about the installation itself, because so far, since it hasn't been done, we're still not really in the process of how we're going to show it. But it's true that it might not be just a screening. Maybe it can be an installation also, because it's a lot also about the special thing of architects. And Diane Arbus, yes, is a good reference also for. But the thing was really not. That's why I mentioned afterwards that there are 2 professional actors. We did not play with them. They're really like professional actors. They play with their specificity, you know. And we hired them because of that, because they also self-promote themselves because of their own characteristic.
And before, before to make the movies, they slept in the building just to understand the volume and the problem of the scale.
And actually, it was because when we had the first meeting with Jean-Yves, so the short actor, he was really like in fear against the Le Corbusier and the idea of having the kitchen 80 centimeters high. He was telling about his own youth and how tricky it was to grow up in a world where everything is standardized. And once he was there, you see it in the making of afterwards. He's the one who took the most picture of himself, like selfie everywhere with his cell phone, and you could see the selfie on Facebook on his page, and so it really took part of the process. Also, it was quite fun to work with him, and also finally, I mean, it was just a trial, but then you really understand the issue. You really there's one sequence that is a little forced, but we really wanted to have it when he's closing down all the cupboards. You cannot close them easily. You can even less go and catch some stuff from the cupboard. So it's really non-designed for non-standard people in a way. So
even the Napoleon piece is like this, performative intervention in your architectural spaces. So not only do you cut up all of the, but you're also then intervening with a performance. And, to me, I haven't seen the other architectural films, but I think that the low quality is very much in tune with like 70s video art. Yeah. In a way, and it's not slick. And I think the strength of it is that it's not slick in a way, that it's, it has more to do with video art than
Sure. Then
yeah.
Yeah, than a cinema, critical cinema project. Or, yeah.
Okay. We should finish now, perhaps. If someone has more questions, we can continue afterwards. Thank you very much. Let's give an applause.
Thank you.